Well, good morning there, everyone. Carpo. Uh, this is my morning video. The first words I've spoken of the day, other than those that I've spoken to myself in the shower while I was planning for my day. And while I was doing that, a couple thoughts occurred to me. First, I'd like to close this window because there's a car alarm going on. 5 in the morning car alarm. Boy, the neighbors have got to love that one. I wanted to make a slight addition to my video last night about philosophy. And I wanted to find a way to word it to where it didn't sound pious. Because the word philosopher, of course, means lover of wisdom. We know that. But the way that it's portrayed in the society is that philosophy is some sort of academic achievement. The idea of thinking that going to school, taking a philosophy class makes you a philosopher, is akin to saying that taking a health food class and not applying what you've learned to eating is going to make you healthy. It's exactly the same. There's absolutely no difference. And I've considered this in the past because as I was growing up, I remember hearing a lot about philosophy, and I read various philosophers, but didn't really consider what philosophy was. I assumed it to be something separate from me, something I had to learn. Nobody ever told me that I was a philosopher all along. And I wish they had, because it would have probably caused me to seek much more of this inspirational the other philosophers' work earlier in my life. I'm fortunate to have learned the things I did when I did, but I guess the reason why I'm making this video is for anyone out there who's, who may think that a philosopher is something separate from themselves. If you are a thinking person, and you consider life and all it entails, you're a philosopher. If you don't fool yourself, if you try to close the illusions and open your mind to something bigger, and that you have the humility to realize that it's a work never finished, regardless of whether you believe in reincarnation or not. It's a work that's never finished in this lifetime. And there are so many points to ponder and consider during this path, but one thing that I've found is what type of philosophy should we hold, and how can we make it useful to us? So I just wanted to point out 2 ways that I've found to make philosophy useful. First off, the most useful method is to see yourself for who you really are, because until you see yourself from the outside, you'll never understand anything about the world around you. We can only monitor our own emotions and our own reactions to things. We can see how other people react on the outside, but only truly know how we feel on the inside. We have to analyze our emotions and our intentions and ask ourselves what we really want out of life. And we have to do it every day. And in particular, I slip up on it myself a lot. I think that a lot of people do. And it's not a matter of playing a consistent game, because we go through cycles. Every winter I get into particular subjects. Every summer I get into other particular subjects. But my philosophy on life endures. That if a philosophy is to work, if an idea is to work, you have to ask yourself, what is the societal impact of that? In other words, if you have a philosophy about life and all it entails, but have no consensus or agreement upon that reality, then that philosophy is only serving you. And a true philosopher would know that service to mankind, service to the whole, is the essential component. Because if a philosopher is only serving himself, then he's considering himself separate from his society. meaning he hasn't looked hard enough. And one way that I've found, and this is I learned this through the Essenians. They were one of the earliest mystical societies. Some believe to be the root of the Kabbalah, the various mystical ideas to come out of Egypt and whatnot. But regardless of the people themselves, as a group or a society, part of that was cleansing yourself physically and mentally. But service to your fellow man was the key. They would spend 10 years in dedication before they would be accepted into the group, because they wanted to make sure that a person was dedicated to the truth. One thing that these people did is they would have their morning gatherings, and they would make their morning dedications to their day. Now, this is something I've been trying to do for a while, unsuccessfully. And this morning, or I should say yesterday, I really put my mind to it. They said, you picture what you're going to do during the day, and you picture it done, and this is just visual thinking. But you hold that thought in your mind. You can't let it fade. You can't just have an intention and say, I want to do this today, and then forget about it. I held this intention that I was going to clean up this whole garage area, and it's done. Today I got up really early, about 4:30. Couldn't get back to sleep. So I got up and I took a shower, and during my shower I decided this will be my time to make my daily prayer or my daily dedication. So I set my dedications for today, the things that I want to get done, and then I got up and went about my day. Well, I'm going about my day. It's still only 5 in the morning, so give me a little bit of time to finish the stuff, but it's something I think that I guess it's just an assisting point, something that I think might help people who are interested in these types of things, because it's what's helped me, setting a realization that I don't have high expectations of myself during one day. The next day, I just do better. Every day, I try to do better. And some days I fall backwards, and then I move forwards. Some days it's 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, it doesn't matter. As long as the intention is to move forward and I'm making the effort. So, I guess those were the 2 points I wanted to cover. Set a morning dedication for yourself. Tell yourself you want to do something today, and hold that in your mind, and complete the task. And if you don't complete the task, it's fine. Just dedicate yourself again the next day, and eventually you will. Whatever your philosophy may be, make sure it assists your fellow man. It assists society. It doesn't matter how separate you may think your ideas are from the rest of the people. We have to live with society. We have to live with those around us. So it's no better than saying, like I heard one man state, that people who are dogmatic and religious should be ostracized and separated. And I said, that's a horrible idea. That's no better than them ostracizing the non-religious. We can't ostracize or cast anyone aside. We can't set anyone apart from society. It's one tight-knit community. So philosophy has nothing to do with what you study as far as history. It has nothing to do with what other philosophers have said, although learning that philosophy allows you to see what others have found important as well. So I think it's a key component. If you want to know philosophy, you have to know the philosophers. But you have to derive your own conclusions, and they have to assist. And in today's world is different than the ancient world. So the way we go about our methods today, we don't walk around walk down the roads in a group and try to spread the good knowledge or the good word. We go on the internet and we do it, or we talk about it in the workplace. It's a different approach, is what I'm saying, today. So while we look back on history as this great mystical time, the reality is it was choppy. The history we remember is just the history we want to remember, and the rest of it fades into the woodwork. Now is what matters. Now is when we act. So set an intention in your mind today. Complete your task. Make your morning dedication. And hope that it is helpful to everyone. Even if the idea is just a small one, even if the idea or the thing that you want to change assists only yourself, if it assists you to think clearer, it's going to assist you to help others think clearer. One point I'd like to leave on is that a messy mind creates a messy life, and a messy lifestyle creates a messy mind. When I walk into my home and the dishes are all over the place, I have a hard time focusing. Let's say I wake up in the morning, want to make a cup of coffee, there's glasses and stuff around. It can be frustrating. If I wake up and everything's clean in the house, then my mind is clean. And this is a major understanding that has taken me a while to reach. I've always known it, but I have to be dedicated to keeping things clean, including the self and the world around me, because a clean environment creates a clean thinking pattern. At least that's the way I see it. And I definitely need to work on that one. Look, if you looked around what I've got around this place, this was part of my dedication for the last couple of days, was to downsize and remove material items from my life, to remove stuff. I actually made this dedication about a year ago, or maybe longer. It was much longer ago that I actually originally intended it, but only last year did I start, to get rid of my stuff. And they say that you don't let your stuff own you, but it always does if you have more than you can handle. Now I'm a hobbyist. I'm a thinker, I'm a worker, I like doing stuff, I like creating stuff, so I have all kinds of things around me here, you know. I've got my bass equipment, I play bass guitar, I've got my drum kit, I play electric guitar, I've got my acoustic guitar, I've got my bongos. Then I've got all my buckets of stuff, you know, some RC cars somebody gave me that I'll never use. But a CB radio, some various stereos, and things like that. Boxes I've made that I should just give away. Electronic components that may or may not work. And a lot of records. And that's just a few of the things. I've learned that it's not the stuff that we have. It's the stuff that we don't need that we have. And we don't need anything. But we deserve to have things. So when a person tries to detach from materialism completely, say a person renounces all their possessions to become a Hare Krishna, which I had a friend do, who later committed suicide because of a heavy drug problem. So I guess it didn't work for him. It's unfortunate because he was a really good guy. Giving up all of our possessions is a step. It's an understanding, a step of understanding. It has nothing to do with completely renouncing possession in life. It has to do with that dedication to saying, I'm going to give up what I have now to find this path. Because those are distractions. Doesn't mean later in life you can't build those things back up. So I guess what I'm saying is that I have stuff. But if the stuff disappeared, so be it. And I think that that's the state of mind that we have to have for everything. Not just our possessions, but our mental state, our convictions especially. We have to be willing to let our convictions go if they're unnecessary. And we know when they're unnecessary. If we're holding beliefs that are contrary to the way that society needs to live, then we question that. And that's what we do. And that's philosophy. And it's a tough road, and it can be lonely at times, and it can be very rewarding at times. But overall, it's always rewarding. I've continued to become happier and happier in my life. I looked back this morning on my past parts of my life and realized that I'm much happier than I was 10 years ago. And it's because it has nothing to do with what I have in my life, but what I know in my life, and what I feel. More content with growing old, more content with knowing myself. Losing the fear of death and the fear of sickness, and realizing that I'm in full control of my destiny as far as how I'm going to treat my body, how I'm going to respect my mind. setting aside all of the unprovable facts or ideas that people have in their minds to say what works and what doesn't. And I'm still learning, and we all are. So, take care, everybody, and have a great day. Set your intention in your mind and make something happen today for yourself. Because the more of us that do, the happier the individuals are, the more content the individuals are, the more content their families will be, the more content their communities will be, and the more content we'll all be. So, namaste.